Anand Sharma, welcome to World Business. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Since your appointment, there's been much commentary by analysts and observers that the appointment of you as the new Trade Minister of India is a message to the world that India's position on the Doha round and your general position is changing.
It's a commitment of India and the sincerity of its intent to engage with the world to take the Doha round to a successful conclusion.
Is that a way of saying that India will work harder in the Doha round?
We have already taken the initiatives by re-energizing it, convening the Delhi Ministerial, bringing together all the key interlocutors in the first week of September, all the major stakeholders, and it was a rainbow coalition, a microcosm of the WTO, which met here. Let's not forget, it's not a question of Doha round. India is one of the major developing countries on this planet. And the Doha round of the WTO has development as the core agenda. Developing countries, particularly the LDCs and the poor countries, have the most to gain and much to lose with the failure or the success. So we are very clear where we are. There has to be a successful conclusion.
What's changed now that India is a member of the G20 and the G20 seems more serious? Does that change anything for India?
It's not India being a member. It's the recognition by the developed countries that the G8 alone could not address the challenges, could not meet the aspirations, given the complexities of the world that we live in. Therefore, there has to be a representative order and grouping which deals with these issues. So G20 is becoming a reality. Both the political and edifice and the economic architecture has to respond to the contemporary realities. It would be a huge mistake, which it has been for decades, to keep them frozen in an order that emerged after the Second World War, when majority of the countries which are members of the United Nations were not free nations in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, which includes countries like India. Even China was not a member of the United Nations. So we have to be very clear which world we live in. It would only be correct to impair the aberrations of the past.
Tell me about relations with the Obama administration. There's a rumor that a new U.S.-India trade and investment agreement is near. Is that true?
That's true. We have had a meeting of the U.S.-India Trade Policy Forum. I have been to Washington. Ron Kirk has been here twice. He came for the WTO Ministerial. He also came for the Trade Forum. And the focal groups have met. We are going to sign a framework of cooperation on trade and investment, hopefully during the forthcoming visit of the Prime Minister. And later on, we will have the treaty or the trade and investment agreement. Okay, and there are other deliverables in the way. We are talking about them.
What about progress with the European Union? Where does India stand?
We have had many rounds of discussions on trade and investment agreement. This is after the Helsinki summit of India-EU in 2006, October, accepted the recommendations of the high-level group. It would be in the interest of both India and EU. We have a strategic partnership, and EU is India's largest trading partner. We have annual trade of over 80 billion euros. And the potential is much more.
Last couple of areas, foreign direct investment. What's the scorecard for India? You've been attracting a lot in the last few years.
The fundamentals are strong. We have one of the highest national saving rate in the world, one of the highest investment rates in the world. Domestic consumption is big, which has seen not a turnaround but a rebound of the core industries, which have gone into double-digit growth. So therefore, FDI is coming in more, so is the foreign institutional investors, because India remains an attractive destination for them, and we are encouraged. We have crossed 120 billion mark overall. This year, in the first quarter, the financial quarter of this financial year, because our financial year starts on the 1st of April, we have got over 15 billion FDI, same as the figure for the FII. And at the same time, when we are talking of FDIs into India, India is investing in a major way abroad, Indian entities. In many countries, including OECD countries, Indian investments are more. But overall, our investments in the last 7 years out of India are 67 billion.
In order to make India a more investor-friendly place and get the value proposition to the international FDI community up, what are the 2 or 3 most important reforms that you want to spearhead during your time in office here?
We are ensuring simplification and rationalization of FDI norms. Also, uniformity when it comes to approvals across the country. I have convened a first meeting of the industry ministers of all the states. We have launched a pilot project, with Infosys executing it, and that's on government e-business. So eventually all the services will be in the paperless mode. This pilot project covers 9 states. Eventually it will cover the entire country by 2015.